Hello and welcome into another edition of Wealth Made Simple podcast. My name is Jay Mcfarland. This show is dedicated to sharing stories of consumers and financial professionals along with their experiences within our growing community. Now, in this series, we'll highlight financial professionals who are committed to providing financial literacy and empowerment for all. Through this podcast and our platform, we'll change the way consumers ask questions and get answers for financial questions. Today, I'm excited to introduce you to Bob Chitrathorn. He is with Simplified Wealth, and you're going to get a sense real quick of his passion and his excitement in not just helping people with their financial planning, but educating them so that they can make the best possible choices with great information. All right, it's such a pleasure to have you on the show. I always love to ask people if what they're doing now is what they wanted to be when they grew up. Tell us about your background. How did you end up in this field?
Well, I've always been really good at math, and I've just always had an interest with money growing up. We grew up, on the less, what's the word you want? We weren't rich by any means, right? So, I was always kind of focused on numbers and learning about that. And so, I kind of, even in high school, I had a little business that I just borrowed books from other students, sold the books for them, and then we would split, all the profits.
Really?
And so I think it's just always been, now they have these UBE book exchange type deals, right? Like book exchanges. I literally think I came up with that because I was doing that in high school.
You were the book exchange. That's great.
I was the book exchange. And in high school, it was funny because at the end of the year, the last day of school, so many people would come up to me and my buddy and say, "Hey, are you doing books again this year?" And I said, "Yes." So they would give us the books. And then 4 days out of the year during the summertime registration, we'd go, and it was freshman registration. I take the freshman books. It was sophomore, junior, and senior. And literally would open up my trunk and have books for sale. Parents would walk by, think this was nuts. I said, "Go inside. You'll see the same exact book." They go inside. They come back out, say, "Hey, how much is that book?" $10 cheaper than what you just saw it for. And there you have it. I was just interested in business, I guess, from day one. Then I went to school for my BS in finance and got a BS in real estate as well. So that's kind of my background, I guess, in a nutshell.
Yeah, and then how did that turn into what you do on a daily basis? Did you always know? Did you know in college that you wanted to help people out in this way?
I did. I can't tell you how I knew. But again, from day one, I knew what my major was going to be. It was going to be, I couldn't tell if it was going to be real estate or finance. So I did double major and then got a BS in both. And, you can't really do finance and real estate together. To me, it's kind of there's a little bit of overlap and almost a contradiction there in regards to, working with somebody. And, I kind of look at it like double dipping. So I decided I wanted to pick one as opposed to doing both. So I did finance. And I feel like I've always that's just what I want to do. Like, I'm really passionate about it. I love talking about not money per se, but I love telling people tips and tricks on, how to, do a little bit better for yourself without even trying hard.
No, I love that. Do better for yourself without trying hard. I think when people think about money, we tend to get kind of a paralysis by analysis, and we need people who can simplify things for us so that it makes sense.
You're absolutely right. There's two different types of people when I work with individuals when it comes to plans. And there's, the people who, "Hey, this is what I have. Can you just focus on this and help make this more efficient if possible? Because I don't want to think of everything else right now. It's just too much work for me. It's overwhelming." And, I understand everybody's different. So in my personal opinion, as long as I can help somebody, it doesn't matter how I help them. I just always make sure they know, hey, we'll start simple. But just so you know, if you hire me to be your financial coach, we will get to the point where we kind of make a GPS roadmap for your finances, and how things are going to look, because it's going to be a natural progression without you feeling overwhelmed. Because as we take little baby steps, if you will, that's just where we're going to end up. Today, it might sound like a lot of work, but by the time we get there, you're going to be excited, you're going to be jazzed, and you're going to love where we're going.
That sounds like you spend as much time educating as you do managing money or finances.
Well, you have to. I don't want to be a person who just tells someone what to do. I like to be a leader. I like to make sure that they know I'm doing the same things. A lot of times when I'm helping individuals, I literally tell them what my situation is. My wife hates that. But it's the best way for me to kind of get across of, what I'm thinking in my head. And so when someone asks me for advice, randomly over the phone, a lot of times I'll talk to myself. I say, hey, listen to this. I'm going to talk to myself in the third person. This way you can hear my thought processes. And I think it makes people understand a little bit more. Makes people more comfortable with their finances. It's just how I do things. I want people to understand. I want people to be comfortable. And again, nothing's perfect, Jay. There's pros and cons to everything. So we need to be upfront, and here's all the pros, here's all the cons. Do the pros outweigh the cons? Why should we do this versus something else?
Yeah, and so it sounds like not only are you educating, but you're also interviewing. You've got to understand them, their goals, what they're interested in, those types of things. You've got to kind of maybe sometimes be a brain reader, because not everybody's the best communicator about their goals and what they want.
Exactly. I look at it almost like a first date. When we have our first conversation, it's kind of like a quick, what do they call that? Speed dating, right? So it's kind of a 15, 20-minute phone call just to see if our personalities are similar, because if they're not, it doesn't make sense. You literally could be the best client, and I could be the best financial advisor. By no means am I, I'm sure of that. But I could be, and we just might not work out if we don't have similar personalities. So we need to make sure our personalities are great. And then as we start to date and learn more about each other and what you want to get accomplished and how I can help you, we're going to be more comfortable. We're going to be more understanding. It's, again, nobody wants to go through a breakup or a divorce. It's definitely not good for the client, because now you have a different wall up, and you might run into someone who's the best for you, but now you're afraid to work with them.
Yeah, very good. So talk a little bit specifically about the services that you offer.
Okay, well, the things I do for my clients, there's just a lot of different things. I don't want to be too general, too specific, because we can sit here forever. But it's kind of like understanding this basics. If you have a lot of debt, well, we can't really save too much for the future when you're paying 17, 18, credit card interest rates. We need to figure out how we can get you to pay off your debt first. And then we can get you on a plan where you can get out of debt. Well, you're used to saving those dollars aside to get out of debt. Well, once your debt's paid off, guess what? Those same dollars can be used to now build your financial future. You're already used to it. So sometimes I do something just simple like that, just a little coaching, a little mental mind shift, if you will. But then I help a lot of business owners with retirement, how to be more tax efficient, how to save in, what's the difference between an IRA or a Roth IRA, what different avenues you have, what are some of the best ways that you can potentially hire, if you own your own business, hire your own child, so that instead of paying taxes on these dollars, you're actually paying your child, and then you can save for your Roth IRA for a child potentially, depending on their age or whatnot. Lots of little things like that. So the services I offer, Jay, literally I say this: if it deals with the dollar sign, I somehow can probably help you, because if I can't do it myself, I might have a great networker or a great I don't want to use that word network, but a great referral for you, or someone that I know that does really well at that. So I always tell people, use me as a resource. I help lots of people that aren't even clients of mine, just because I feel that if we can help each person be a little bit better with their finances, or help them improve some way, somehow, it's going to be better for the whole world, the whole economy in general. And that's, again, I keep using the word passion, but I just love helping people. And, for instance, I'll help people with, oh, you don't have this program? Well, guess what? I bought a subscription, go ahead and use it. I get so many subscriptions. Here's a budgeting tool or whatever it is, because I think anything I do, it's going to help us overall in the world.
Yeah, I'm going to guess no two clients are alike. Everybody's different in their own way.
Yeah, I have some similar clients that you can almost say their livelihood is almost the same, the way they act is almost the same, but their finances are similar, but yet so far different because of different goals. One goal of taking a $15,000 trip in 20 years somewhere changes everything, right? And then everything you do up to that goal changes everything. It's like taking a trip to, I want to give you $5,000, Jay. You take a trip to New York. Well, if you just fly to New York and start spending money randomly, you might spend all your money and not have money to come back. You're stuck in New York, right? But if you plan for it, we kind of know, hey, these are your nice dinner days. This is your quick, cheap fast food meal, or, go to the store and get some cereal for this breakfast. And if you spend extra on certain days because you run into a friend or something, well, guess what? We can just kind of shift that. Okay, well, now if you want to reach your end goal, you can't go have all the expensive dinners we already planned for you. We have to cut one of them out. But again, it's your financial plan. I tell you what's going to affect you or how it's going to affect you. You ultimately make the decision if you want to do it or not. My job is to let you know how it affects you moving forward, so that you don't have, I wish I would have done it this way. And then you also don't have regrets of, I wish I would have spent more money when I was younger.
Yeah. Now, I'm going to guess because I can really sense your passion, but what are you most excited about in the morning? When you get up in the morning, you're like, yes, I get to go do this today. Well, how would you answer that?
Oh man, that's a tough one, but it's not so tough. Just being candid and transparent. I love making money when my clients are making money. So I have that luxury that as my clients are saving money, putting more money away to reach their financial goals, and I'm helping them, build a portfolio, I'm getting compensated most times based on helping them. So that really excites me because I get to do good and get compensated. My wife says I'm a little, well, not my wife, everybody says I'm a little bit of a workaholic. So part of me just being excited to work, I was sick for about 2 weeks with bronchitis, and literally people are like, what are you doing? Why are you calling me? You sound like you're gonna die. I said, because I can't just lay in bed. I need to get a little bit of work done. So I know it sounds generic, but I love talking to people. I love helping people. And just the little things that, it's so simple to me, maybe because this is what I do. It's like just completely opens some individual minds, and they're just like, oh, wow, that's going to change my life so much. That excites me. I mean, that's just a cool feeling.
Yeah,
and again,
I can tell. Yeah, and you're a workaholic. I can tell, though, your passion really shines through and that you love helping your clients. Do you have some specific examples of how you have helped clients in the past? Your favorite success stories?
Yeah, okay, that's pretty simple. I mean, one, what I like to do, again, is when I talk to somebody, I don't want to waste their time. I don't want to waste my time. So my number one goal, Jay, is this. What can I do today? What can I do that I know that if I never talk to you again, that you are going to be like, I am glad I spent 15 minutes on the phone with Bob. You got some sort of tangible value right off the bat, or, maybe it's intangible, whatever it is. So, one of the things I always do for clients is I like making sure that, people understand, and there's no compensation that I get from this, but I want people to understand what a living trust is, what a power of attorney is. And I believe that everybody who's 18 years old or older should have a power of attorney for financials and for healthcare directives, because of the fact that most people don't learn this until much later on. But if something happens to you, who's going to make your healthcare decisions? Should you have this surgery? Should you not? You can't make the decision. Who's going to do it? Well, the doctor's going to look and say, oh, we don't know. It's going to be one of these 4 people. Now we got to talk to the courts. Hey, who's going to take care of this? They got to figure something out. But if you have a power of attorney, well, guess what? You've already laid it out. It's going to be your mom, your dad, your best friend, this person, that person, definitely not this person. So I think power of attorney is really important to have. And so I always, usually have a team that I work with where I have, kind of already paid them X amount of power of attorneys. So I like to give away free power of attorneys where someone can work on it on their own time, answer their own questions, and get it done, and not have to worry about it, because again, it's that important. So I mean, I guess sometimes that's not a client of mine that I'm helping, but I think that's probably one of my favorite examples, because a lot of times things happen and you don't want it to happen, but when you hear like, oh my goodness, Bob, I'm so glad we had that in place. You don't know who I am. We talked 3 years ago. We're ready for finances now, but because of that, we remembered you forever. I mean, it makes me feel good.
Yeah. And you also mentioned living trust. Talk about that a little bit more.
Yeah, again, you always got to talk to your attorney, but having a living trust, especially where I'm at in California, you want to make sure your assets are protected. You want to minimize as much as you can when it comes to probate costs and taxes. So, again, speak with your attorney, because I am not an attorney by any means, but a living trust really helps you do that. But then also simple things. I tell my sister just had a baby a year ago. So my nephew just turned 1 this month, actually. It was awesome seeing him. We make a joke because my brother-in-law, he's like 6'7", and fair skin, and then me and my sister are of Asian descent, and this kid looks like an Asian version of me on a big white person's body. It's really cool. But anyway, no, so it's, shoot, I just lost my train of thought.
That's all right. You were talking about living trusts and recommending to your sister. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, their family, he has a few brothers, and, mom-in-laws, father-in-laws, and then we have our family on our side. And it's one of those things, if anything happened to him, we don't want anything to happen, but who's going to take care of my nephew? Like, are we going to fight over my nephew? Like, and, this is something they need to figure out. We don't want to figure that out later. Because what if we figure it should be, let's say it's supposed to be, I think it's supposed to be me, but they don't want it to be me. But then it ends up being me who takes care of my nephew, and they wanted somebody else. Well, if they would have had a living trust, they could have picked, right? And it makes it easier on those left over, don't use that word, left behind, because of the fact that this is not what we want to deal with. We don't want to think about these things. We're thinking about other things right now, right? We're devastated. So a living trust is important, not just for those, who may no longer be around, but it's important for those that you leave behind. You don't want your kids arguing about stuff, and you'll hear stories and stories about it that people argue, and unfortunately people argue about money. A living trust will kind of help, get that issue solved to some extent. But again, I'm not an attorney, so always consult with your attorney about a living trust.
Yeah, very good. Who are the people who call you? Who's your target client?
Well, I don't know if I have a target client per se, because again, as cheesy as it sounds, I love helping everybody. I mean, if they call me and I have time, I'll spend 10, 15 minutes with you and just help you with something. But I would say the most people that I work with, I have a lot of nurses, doctors, firefighters, police officers, and business owners. I would say those are kind of my my main type of clientele: first responders and business owners. And I think that's part of the reason, because my mom's a nurse, my wife's a nurse. So I've just always kind of been surrounded with that type of professionalism in that career. Profession. Yes, I've always been in that type of profession. So I think it was just a natural course that I went that way, because it was just I don't know. That's just what I do.
Well, I find that.
I work with, so
I find that fascinating, because I'm sure you see this, that people feel like, I don't make enough money to have a financial advisor. I'm sure that you hear that. And in a lot of those professions that you just mentioned, I don't necessarily think of them in conjunction with a financial advisor. So, what do you say to people who feel that way? Like, I don't make enough money to pay somebody else to manage my money or my life like that.
Yeah, no. So what I tell people is, if you make any type of money, if you work, you should have a financial advisor. Doesn't have to be someone that you pay to be your coach all the time. Just someone that can give you some general guidelines, because there's lots of things we can help. I mean, have you ever heard anybody say, I wish I would have waited and saved later than I did? No, everybody says, I wish I would have started earlier. Everybody says that, no matter how old they are. They could have started when they were 20 years old. That person is still going to say, I wish I would have saved earlier, because they know what that 1 year difference makes, whether you're saving $25 a month or $3,000 a month or $10,000 a month. That extra month, that extra year, that extra 2 years exponentially goes a long way. So I always tell people, if you don't think you make enough money to have a financial advisor, you're kind of giving yourself your own obstacle. You're being your own, you're giving yourself your own objection. You're in your own way for financial success. Because everyone's financial success is different to different people, right? Someone who makes $300,000 a year versus $100,000 a year, or versus $40,000 a year, right? They can all be financially successful. It's just, how do we figure out what that is to you? What is financial success? And now we got to get a game plan together. So, I mean, again, I tell people all day long is, if you have a job and you can use the word finances, right? If you ever used the word finances before, you probably need a financial advisor.
That's very good. Very good. All right. I love this question. What's the best piece of advice that you have ever received? No pressure, personal or business.
Okay. Well, you know what? Always goes back to my mom. Education is money in the bank. I don't know why that has always stuck with me, but my mom taught me education is money in the bank, and it's something no one can take away from you. So I've always just, kind of, when I was in school, just always focus on education, whether it was high school or college, I was just looking at, when I was learning something, when I was reading something, that was almost like me getting paid money and putting money away, because education compounds on itself. Just like, if you save, interest rates, right, compounds on itself. So education, being money in the bank, is probably the best thing I've ever heard. And it's what makes me want to educate people, because, again, using that philosophy of education is money in the bank, if I can't help them directly with finances right this second, at least I can educate them with something that they can use for years to come. So that's the best thing I've ever learned.
I really like that. What advice would you give somebody who's just starting out? They're just new on the path, got their first job out of college or wherever they're at. Best advice that you could give.
Okay, well, I would say this. Being in California and knowing, I don't know about anybody else out there, but when I was 18, a lot older than that now, I won't tell you how old I am, but when I was 18,
19, just to be clear.
Awesome. Well, you know what? I make a joke to my friends, because a lot of people say that. And one day I'll probably wake up and look like 110, right? I hope that doesn't happen anytime soon.
Yeah.
But, what I tell people, you probably went onto a college campus, and if you're like me, got a free t-shirt for signing up for a credit card, right? Mm-hmm. You really don't have any idea, know what you're doing. You really shouldn't have a credit card. But, back then, when you sign up for a credit card, directly your parents became co-signers. I don't even know how that all worked out. But anyway, most people have credit cards. So the first thing I would say is, let's figure out a game plan to pay off your credit card. I need you to understand that credit is not free money, right? Credit is really the ability to buy something, but pay more for it, right? Whenever you buy something on a credit card, someone's not lending you money for free. They're actually allowing you to pay more for something. And it's funny, because people spend the most on credit cards when there's a sale, right? Oh, 20% off a TV. Let me go buy a TV on my credit card, and that, costs 18%. Pay it over the next, year and a half, so that, $800,000 TV that was on sale for $800 ends up costing you, who knows what, $1,600? It just doesn't make sense, right? And people don't it's hard to think about that, and and I get it, because it's just how we're raised. It's what we see. We're all consumers. Spend. So what I always tell people is, let's just look at your credit card. Let's just shift your mentality, right? And get you into a saving mentality. If you use your credit card, right? I use my credit card all the time, but I pay it off every Friday. Every Friday, I will see how much I owe on the credit card or what's there, and I'll pay it all off. Sometimes I don't pay it all off because I just made the charge on a Thursday, and then my credit card won't let me pay extra, right? But I've trained myself that that's what I do, right? Once I got my debts paid off, that has been my thing. And I tell people, hey, if you want to use your credit card, that's okay if you pay it off every Friday. What happens is, if you let a month go by and you're used to spending $500 a month on your credit card, and you pay it off every month, and then 1 month happens and you spend $800, what are you going to do, Jay? I'll tell you what you're going to do. You're going to say, okay, well, I'm going to put $500 towards, like I always do. Now you have a $300 credit balance that's accumulating interest every single month. And then willing to say that the next month, if you only spend $500 and you have that $300 still there, you barely touched it, right? Because you didn't put anything extra towards it. So now it's $315, so $815, you still pay $500. You see where I'm going with this.
Yep.
Right? You're just going the wrong way. So that's why, you really got to be just a mental shift. I mean, literally, you don't have to try to save a whole bunch of money to be a little bit more financially successful. We just need you to understand how to not overspend, how to maintain a budget. You don't have to be, on point on your budget. Just if you pay your credit card off every Friday, so that you don't have a balance, I would say you're probably going to be a lot more financially successful than a lot of people out there. Because I bet you, if you interviewed 1,000 people, I have no idea, but you do this a lot. You interview a lot of people. Try it, and I bet you, at least 90% would probably say they have some sort of revolving credit card debt.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yes,
I think it's great advice. Yeah, paradigm shift, right?
Yep, that's exactly it. And then once you shift your paradigm, and you've paid off your debt, and you don't have that debt anymore. So again, that $500 a month that you were going towards debt, if you decide, hey, I want to tone it down to $400 a month, whatever that number is for you, that's extra money that you can use to pay yourself. Let your money make money, right? Don't let your money cost you money. That doesn't make any sense. Everybody can understand that. Let your money help you make money. right? Whatever, whether that's saving in the bank, whether that's investing in stocks, bonds, whatever that is, just don't, just credit card debt is the number one way to lose money. And that's why I always tell people, it's like, hey, again, look at that sale. You want to go buy something because it's on sale. Is it really?
Right.
You
Not after you charge it.
Truthful to yourself.
Yeah. Not after you charge it. Very good. It's again, I just love your passion. I am curious. I've been asking everybody this question. The pandemic has hit us all differently. How has it impacted your work and your clients?
Well, it's kind of weird because the way it's affected me is, again, you got to remember, I'm a workaholic, right? And I love efficiency. So when the pandemic hit and we were all forced to stay home, I've always had clients out of state, right? Mm-hmm. So I've always kind of done Zoom meetings, if you will, or over the phone meetings, made new clients out of state. So I've been used to it, but I would say, barely did it, maybe 15 times over the course of 5 years, right? Something along those lines. Well, when the pandemic hit and we had to work from home, I was actually able to help a lot more people just because it was a little bit more efficient. Once people got used to it, think about this. I didn't have to wake up every single morning and drive into the office and then drive home, right? I gained about 45 minutes right there. That's 45 minutes that I can help somebody that I didn't have time to help before by using the same work schedule, that I was on. I just gained an extra 45 minutes. So, I like that. And then it would just, once people got more and more used to it, there's nothing I can't show you on a screen that I couldn't show you in person. Right. You know what I mean? Or like, there's nothing I can show you in person I can't show you on a screen for the most part. And it just, people liked it. It was more efficient and you get to talk with them more, you get to see them a little bit more. Because again, how many times, here's a perfect example. I had bronchitis 3 weeks ago, right? And how hard is it to go to a doctor nowadays? And just think about, it's long, you have to wait, this and that. Well, I was able to give them a call, go over a couple things, get prescribed antibiotics, and 2 days later I was feeling better.
Yeah.
Right? It's just more efficient. Now, I wouldn't say it's perfect for everything because sometimes there's things you can't do virtually, right? I mean, they can't really take my temperature virtually, although I just got sent something in the mail from a health insurance company that actually takes my temperature. It has like a little thing that you can put in your ear and like lights in your eye. I haven't tried it out yet, but I mean, it just, things are just becoming that way. And it makes more sense because I am likely to call a doctor more than I am to go to the doctor's office, right? Unless it's my annual physical. So same thing with finances, right? It's easier to set a virtual meeting with Bob and spend 30 minutes or 45 minutes, an hour going over something than to have to set aside 3 hours to go over the same amount of time because of traffic. Yeah.
Yeah. And even right now, we're in 2 different states. We're having a great conversation and it just, distance doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah, I think it was, the pandemic obviously was terrible, but I think the fact that more people have gotten used to our technology and being able to use the camera and Zoom, I think it can make us more efficient and, make people better because people can do things that they normally would wait to do, right? Because, it's just like, oh, that's too much work. And, and it's also great for me too, because now when my dog barks in the background, I don't look like an idiot.
That's right.
That's right. Everybody's dog barks in the background.
Yeah. That's exactly right. Well, listen, Bob, it's been such a pleasure getting to know you, and I just love your passion for what you do and that you found a way to make a living for yourself by helping others achieve their financial goals. Are you guys taking on new clients? And if you are, how do they get in touch with you?
Yeah. My team we're definitely taking on new clients. Again, everybody I work with, my partners, our passion is all shared in the same way. We want to help people. We know that what we do makes a big difference, and a little goes a long way. So the easiest way to get in touch with me or anyone from my team, you can go to simplifiedwealth.com or you can go to www.planwithbob.com and send me a message or whatnot, and we can definitely get you in touch with someone if it's not myself personally to help you, because again, I'm not a perfect fit for everybody, right? And there's people that fit with my colleagues better than they do with me. So we'll be honest with each other. Hey, you know what? I think this person's more your style. right? I mean, again,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, it's not about me or them trying to make as many clients as we can. That's not what it's about. It's about how many people can we help so that they can have a better future. Because again, if they have a better future, the people that they are around will learn more. Their kids will learn more. It's going to be generationally passed on, so that people become more and more financially illiterate, if you will, right? And I think that's a great thing, because I just honestly, I think if we all were just more financially savvy, we all can do more and we can all give more, right? It's not about what you get out of something, it's about what you can give, because I think that's the best way. That's how I look at things, is like, when I talk to somebody, what can I give them, right? Because if I can give them something, then it's a good day.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Bob, it's been such a pleasure getting to know you. Thank you for your time, and it's been great talking to you. Once again, I want to thank Bob for joining us on Wealth Made Simple. I think you got a real taste of his passion and his love for helping people out and for making a difference, not just today, but a difference generationally. Again, my name is Jay Mcfarland, and thank you for joining us on this edition of Wealth Made Simple.